It's time for the news. Why is there a box here again? Who keeps leaving a box here? I shouldn't open it. I shouldn't open it. I've been told to not open it, which means I shouldn't open it. I should open it.
Support wrestling.
No. 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 Welcome to the WrestleTalk News, I'm Pete Quinnell. Today's top story is that WWE and AEW talent have left their companies. The WWE talent in question, Alicia Fox. I know, I didn't know she was still there either. Fox had previously confirmed she was still with the company in early 2023, but according to her Instagram, she is now not known as Alicia Fox anymore, but her actual name, Victoria Crawford, formerly known as Alicia. She added in her bio that her time with WWE was 2006 to 2023, adding to the idea that she has left. She also posted an Instagram story reiterating that she was formerly known as Alicia Fox, with the added bit of #employable in the corner as well. So yeah, seems pretty certain that she's gone. Meanwhile, over in AEW, there's someone else who's decided to head on out of the company too. Leva Bates, who was an AEW original who was with the company since 2019, announced on Twitter that her contract has expired and she'll be leaving the company. Her statement mentioned that while she'll cherish the memory she's made, she now needs to focus on herself and her career going forward, wishing the best of luck to both in the next steps of their career. Hey, do you remember that one time Brock Lesnar squashed Kofi Kingston in 2019 and we all hated it? Me too. What if I told you that it was actually a long-term plan? Yeah, it doesn't help. This comes courtesy of former WWE writer Dave Schilling, who was speaking to Jeremy Lambert and Joel Pearl on Fightful Overbooked In the Weeds, who was writing for WWE at the time. Kofi Kingston won the WWE Championship in April 2019 at WrestleMania 35 and held the belt until October, when SmackDown moved to Fox, when on that show he was squashed in 8 seconds by Lesnar and was never put into a main event position again. Now, some may have thought that WWE decided to pull the trigger on Lesnar winning rather suddenly because of the Fox move, and they thought it might be nice for them. But seemingly, not so. As Schilling would say on the show, we can debate how it turned out in the end when he lost to Brock Lesnar, which I found out about in April. We were talking about the plan is first SmackDown on Fox, Brock is going to come in and win the title, and it's going to be a quick match. You know, I don't know if it not being a snap decision makes it worse. I think it does. In all fairness, from the time, it's not necessarily that people were upset that Kingston lost, it was more the manner in which he lost. Not even kicking out of one F5, losing in a matter of seconds, and then being immediately overshadowed by the debut of Cain Velasquez. Do you remember that? Because you'd be forgiven for forgetting it. You'll never guess what happened in that feud, by the way. Brock squashed him. So I'm really glad we sacrificed Kofi for that. The WWE Draft 2023 edition concluded on Raw last night, meaning we now know where everybody on the roster will be staying for the next amount of time until they want to do another one. And they'll definitely stay there and won't move around, apart from those pesky free agents, of course, who were underwhelmingly announced on social media to be able to travel to any brand, which sort of negates the point of being drafted, doesn't it? This seems to go against what WWE were trying to do with this draft in making the brands a bit more meaningful once again. But I'm not the only one confused by it, as Fightful Select is reporting that those they spoke to within WWE were puzzled by this booking choice, especially for Omos, who seems to be involved in high-profile feuds, whereas the other free agents announced, Mustafa Ali, Dolph Ziggler, Von Wagner, for example, aren't. There's also the fact that wrestlers were not informed of where they'd be ending up in the draft until it was announced on TV, something that was confirmed by NXT Women's Champs Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. By the way, it's Isla, Ollie, not Isla. Who are you, Michael Cole? We end the news portion of the video today with rapid-fire happy wrestling news bits. Congrats to Nikki Cross, who submitted her dissertation for her Masters in History, which was on the subject of women's wrestling. That sounds wonderful. Congratulations also go out to Intercontinental Champion Gunther and former NXT UK star Ginny, who tied the knot recently. Just look at how happy Gunther is! Look at that smile! And congratulations also go out to Carmella and Corey Graves, who announced they're expecting their first child together. Yay for happy wrestling news. And now we head over to Luke and his favorite Match of the Year correspondent.
WrestleTalk is super excited to announce the release of the brand new book,
The New War, WWE versus AEW.
Chronicling the ultimate battle for wrestling supremacy between the two biggest armies in the industry today.
The New War will take you directly to the front line, giving a level of depth and analysis found nowhere else in book form.
until now.
Direct from the pages of WrestleTalk magazine, this jam-packed book covers every spectacular twist and turn,
Creative misstep, backstage bust-up,
And every jaw-dropping business decision.
All of which led to one of the most shocking periods in the history of pro wrestling.
Don't miss out on a book so controversial, you'll likely want to read it twice.
And I should know, I wrote the foreword for it and my head is still spinning from everything I read inside of it. Get your copy today and see what I mean.
The New War WWE vs AEW is available in paperback for £14.99 and on Kindle for £6.99.
However, as part of our special 10-day WrestleTalk early bird pre-sale,
You can get the Kindle version for just £4.99.
Visit WrestleShop.com right now to get your copy and be one of the very first people to read what will surely go down as the most controversial book of the year. The New War WWE vs AEW, available now at WrestleShop.com.
But before we get into the Raw review, it's time to hear about another potential Match of the Year candidate with our special correspondent, Joshi connoisseur and three-time Romford snooker champion, Mark Markuson. Mark, welcome back.
Thanks so much. Nice to see you.
Nice shades.
Thank you. I had corrective eye surgery so I could see the match quality better.
Of course you did.
This week's Match of the Year contender came from the Stardom All-Star Grand Queendom show on April the 23rd, and it's the IWGP Women's Championship match, which saw Mayu Iwatani challenge Mercedes Moné for the belt. Now, you might actually recognize Moné. She's been on our screens before for a major corporation in the Disney Plus show The Mandalorian, and a star of that magnitude would never sully themselves by entering the wrestling world for a company like WWE. She made her first wrestling appearance at the Tokyo Dome at Wrestle Kingdom 17, going on to win the women's title in her debut match against Kairi. And this match was actually her second defense, and it was a bruiser. Mayu's striking skills were on full display, hitting Moné hard and leaving her with quite the goose egg on her forehead. The champ used every move in her arsenal, inside and outside the ring, but it wasn't enough, as Mayu hit a hard belly-to-belly pile driver, or as it's commonly known, the headstone, following it up with one of the smoothest moonsaults in the game for the 1-2-3. New champ and a 5-star match.
5 stars again. Same as last week.
5 stars and a bit.
I'm going to need to be more specific than that, Mark.
5 stars and a quarter.
Thank you very much, Mark. We'll see you
Okay.
again next week.
It's going well.
Yes. Take your chair with you. There's nothing written on these papers. Let's review Raw. Actually, do you know what? Never mind that spit. I've decided. Oh, what's this box doing here? I've changed t-shirts, everyone, because Gunther is now on Raw! Imperium live on Raw! Finally, we're back to being the A show. But anyway, here's my review of Monday Night Raw, aka what even is a free agent edition of Monday Night Raw? In about 5 minutes. This show was all about the second night of the WWE draft, and Triple H kicked off the show to announce that Raw picked up Rhea Ripley and Seth Rollins, while SmackDown picked Austin Theory and Charlotte Flair. It was later announced that the rest of Judgment Day was being drafted to Raw, which begs the question, why wasn't Rhea part of that pick? That's just a wasted pick from Raw, right? They could have all got them at once, but instead chose them separately. What were you thinking, Raw War Room? And it can't be because she's a singles champ, because Gunther was drafted with the rest of Imperium. I suppose the argument would be that you can now say that Rhea was the overall #1 draft pick on the second night of drafting, but what weight does that actually carry? It's just a buzzword you can say on commentary for the next couple of weeks, but makes the rest of her team look like absolute dweebs and makes zero sense in the grand scheme of things. I honestly think that a WWE draft is the easiest thing to do in the world, but WWE always find a way to make it more complicated than it needs to be. Case in point, Triple H also announced that Brock Lesnar has negotiated a deal to be a free agent and can appear on whatever brand he wants. Which, yes, you're right, that's not a free agent, that's a freelancer. They also said that MVP has negotiated the same deal for Amos to make it sound like it's a big achievement, no pun intended, but the problem there is that Von Wagner and lower card guys like Cedric Alexander also got the free agent deal because no one picked them. So is being a free agent a cool thing, or is it a way to write yourself out of a booking corner? I'll let you be the Vince McMahon judge. Paul Heyman cut a promo saying that Roman Reigns cannot win the new World Heavyweight Championship because he's on SmackDown, which means that Wade Barrett did misspeak on Friday when he said that both Raw and SmackDown stars would be in the tournament to crown a new champ. It also brought out Seth Rollins, who said that he was going to win the belt, and they teased a champ versus champ match with Roman down the line. Solo came out to protect Heyman, and a match was made for later on. Cannot wait for that one to end in DQ. Damage Control beat Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez to set them up as future contenders to the Women's Tag Team Championships, and the next draft picks were announced as Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn along with Judgment Day to Raw, and the Usos and LWO moved to SmackDown. So yes, after all of the talk of where will the Usos end up after not being drafted as part of the Bloodline, they were just drafted to the same brand as Roman with no drama. This story has lost everything that made it feel special just a few months ago. And then Braun Strowman and Ricochet beat Alpha Academy in a short but fun match, which brings us to the most hyped and promoted thing on the show outside of the draft. Cody Rhodes and Brock Lesnar being on Raw at the same time. Gee, I wonder what will happen. The exact same thing that happens every night, Pinky. Security separated them and Brock walked away. Cool, I guess. The next round of picks saw Liv and Raquel end up on Raw along with New Day minus Big E, while SmackDown got Asuka and the Brawling Brits. So yeah, I guess that means that Gunther and Sheamus for now are on different brands, which spells an end to their long-running story about Sheamus finally winning the Intercontinental Championship. And of course there's... hold on. So Kevin and Sami are Raw and still... they're still SmackDown Tag Champs, right, Pete?
Yeah.
Yes, I mean, so why they can be on both shows, right?
They're undisputed tag champs.
Yeah. Okay, so why are they in the draft pool? They can be on both shows. But actually, no, before you answer that, the Liv and Raquel can be on both shows as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so why are they in the draft pool, Pete? Pete, why are they in the draft pool? Pete, why are they in the draft pool?
I don't know, Luke.
Pete, just tell me why they are in the draft pool. Pete, make it make sense! Matt Riddle then beat Jimmy Uso when Jim's cheating backfired on him. Eric Bischoff managed to go a full 3 minutes of airtime without giving a opinion, and he and RVD announced that Trish Stratus had been drafted to Raw along with Ronda Rousey and Shayna Baszler, while SmackDown got Karrion Kross and LA Knight. And I'm sure they're both glad of that, because now they don't have to be pulled into the Miz card vortex like Shinsuke Nakamura has. God damn it, WWE! Nakamura did the old and tired tiny bald jokes and then laid Miz out during a Miz TV segment, and Vince's stinky mustachioed fingerprints were all over this. Big free agent Amos then did what big free agent Amos does best: beat a guy quickly to absolute silence. Road Dogg and Molly Holly announced that Raw drafted Ricochet, Braun Strowman, and Bronson Reed, while SmackDown got Shotzi and the first NXT call-up of the night, Pretty Deadly. The LWO then did what they do best: get beat by Judgment Day to promote somebody else's match. Rhea Ripley and Zelina Vega were in this, but it didn't do much to hype their own match this weekend, but it made Damian Priest look awesome to build him up to lose to Bad Bunny on Saturday. We got a video package for Imperium, put all of the belts on them right now, and Bianca Belair had a stare down with Io Sky backstage. JBL and Teddy Long announced that Raw picked up NXT's Caden Carter and Katana Chance, along with Alpha Academy, and SmackDown got Rick Boogs and Cameron Grimes. I'm sure there will be a storyline about Elias not getting drafted, but Boogs did, but none of that really matters because this is the greatest wrestling render I've ever seen in the history of WWE. It's so beautiful. Xavier Woods cut a promo on his phone, and Seth Rollins vs Solo Sikoa ended up in DQ when the Usos ran in, because of course it did. That's 3 in 3 weeks. You tried telling me that Vince isn't calling the shots. Sammy, Kevin, Riddle jumped in too, but the show ran out of time and it went off the air. Look, the draft is exciting, and I'm sure Dan Layton and I will have some things to dive into when we talk about it later on in the WrestleTalk podcast, but this didn't do a lot to promote Backlash this weekend or set anything up for what Raw's going to look like next week outside of Nakamura versus The Miz, and I don't care about that. This week's show is 3 out of 5. I guess. But did you ever wonder why Sonic the Hedgehog never got a live-action movie in the 1990s? Well, he nearly did, and I break down the treatment written for it in the latest cutscene video. Here is a clip. Sonic the Hedgehog finally ran full speed onto the big screen in 2020, bringing back with him nearly $320 million at the box office. Perhaps even more impressive, Sonic the Hedgehog was the third biggest movie in North America that year. Yeah, sure, there was a big gap in the 2020 release schedule.